pause and reflect. Which part of the world are you watching it from? Are you going into general elections in this or next year? Are you aligned to any political party in your home country? In fact, the question should be, is your aligned party in power or in opposition? If your aligned party is in power today, do you believe your party can be in opposition one day? Whether your party is in power or in opposition, let's join hands and get to know and deal with the three election security evils of all times. Yes, there are 3 election security evils of all times. And if you don't know, they are going to be revealed in this episode. But note that the 3rd security evil is highly infectious, so contagious. So please, be warned. Now, the first security or the first election security evil of all times. What is it? The first, I said 3, so now we take the first one. The first election security evil of all times. What is it? That is voter intimidation and suppression. Voter intimidation and suppression. So, this is the first election security evil. Now, how does this evil manifest? It manifests in 2 parts. So, we'll take the first part. The first part, that's voter intimidation. Now, voter intimidation involves the use of tactics such as threats, harassment, or violence to discourage or prevent certain groups from voting. Should I take it again? Please rewind it there. Let me move on. Now, I said in 2 parts. That is the evil of voter intimidation and suppression. So we have handled the intimidation part of it. As I said, the time is short, so if you didn't get it, you can just push the button backwards and watch again. So voter suppression, that is the second part of that evil, that first evil. Voter suppression. Voter suppression can also occur through legal means. I didn't say illegal means. I said through legal means. So voter suppression can also occur through legal means, such as restrictive voting laws, disenfranchisement, or the strategic placement of polling stations in ways that disadvantage specific communities. Are these manifesting in your country? So, what kind of impact does this evil leave on the citizenry? What kind of impact does this evil leave on the citizenry? Yeah. Intimidation and suppression can skew election results by reducing voter turnout among targeted groups, leading to unrepresentative outcome. As I said, if you don't get anything, you can rewind a bit because my time is short. And as I was saying, this can foster feelings of disenfranchisement and injustice, potentially leading to further unrest. It is well. What then is our entrepreneurial solutions for this all-time election security evil? our entrepreneurial solutions, what the entrepreneur is proposing. To prevent intimidation and suppression, that is during the season of general elections, all election stakeholders must ensure free and fair access to voting. In fact, deploying observers to monitor polling stations and prosecuting those who engage in intimidation or suppression within the jurisdiction of an independent judiciary. A word to the wise, you see. Now, we move on to the second election security evil of all times. And what is that? The second election security evil of all times. Remember, I said the third one is highly contagious. We are on the second one. The second election security evil of all times, anywhere in the world. The second election security evil of all times is cyber security threats. Cyber security threats. But before we discuss that, be cautioned that the third, as I said, the third election security evil of all times, which we will be discussing in a GV. This episode is highly contagious. It's for this reason that I crave your indulgence to stick and stay with yours truly. Chips. Up here. The Intrapreneur. As I suggest my entrepreneurial deliverance strategies to reduce tensions among respective citizenry during general election. That's general elections, election seasons across the globe. Now, let's move on. As I mentioned earlier, the second election security evil of all times is cyber security threat. Cyber security threat. How does this evil manifest? In this current digital age, elections are increasingly vulnerable to cyber attacks. Yes, elections are increasingly vulnerable to cyber attacks, including hacking of voter databases, manipulation of election results, and the spread of disinformation through social media. These threats can be orchestrated by domestic actors, foreign governments, or non-state entities. My time is short, as I said, so if you don't get anything, you can rewind. And this also borders on security, so I'll be careful to quote some of what I say. What kind of impact does this evil leave on the citizenry? Now, cyber security breaches can compromise the integrity of the electoral process. And this can lead to questions being raised about the validity of the results. Disinformation campaigns, on the other hand, can polarize the electorate, spread confusion, and reduce the trust in the existing democratic institutions. What then is our entrepreneurial solutions for this second all-time election security? What is the entrepreneur advice? Now, we advise that both state security and official bodies in charge of public elections in any country, both those in charge of public elections and state securities, that's the official bodies, these must strengthen cyber security measures for election infrastructure. They should monitor and counter disinformation. In fact, they should also educate the public on recognizing fake news. express a lot of things there, you may contact the entrepreneur privately for detailed explanations on the solution. We finally move to the third election security evil of all times, which in fact is highly contagious to all current governments and leading opposition political parties in most parts of the world. What is this third election security evil? But before we discuss that, please be informed that this production is by the kind courtesy of Kingdom Harvesters Ministries, a Touch Life ministry, jointly supported by Bo Car Dealers Ghana Limited, your one-stop shop for your onshore, offshore, catering and logistics needs. And of course, Aruka Global, your perfect construction partner. So, the third election security evil of all times. The third election security evil of all time is political violence and unrest. Political violence and unrest. How is this contagious? How does this evil manifest? Political violence and unrest can manifest in various forms, including clashes between supporters of rival political parties, attacks on polling stations, and widespread protests. This violence can be fueled by deep political divisions, perceived electoral fraud, or attempts by certain groups to intimidate voters or disrupt the electoral process. This violence can also be fueled by arbitrary arrests, detention without trial, and the use of live ammunition against protesters, that is during general elections. What kind of impact does this last election security evil leave on the citizenry? Yeah. What kind of impact does this last election security evil leave on the citizenry? This is a big question. Now, with political violence and unrest, the impact is this. Now, I said it's contagious, and when I said why I said contagious is because if your party is in power, it sees this political violence and unrest differently, and when it's in its opposition, it's also sees it. So, depending on where you stand, you are infected. You are infected by your experiences. So this political violence and unrest can mean two different things to two different political parties, whether in opposition or in government. Now the impact is this: political violence can lead to loss of life, property damage, and widespread fear, discouraging voter turnout and undermining the legitimacy of the election. It can also escalate into broader conflict that destabilize the region or the country in which you find yourself. What then is the intrapreneur solutions? What then is the intrapreneur man or the intrapreneur saying? To address this political violence and unrest, this is what I suggest. We must establish and maintain an independent judiciary that can act as a check on the executive, both on the executive and the security forces, and not be in bed with them. Let me rewind it. And not be in bed with them. Ensuring that any actions of theirs, that is the judiciary, and those they are checking, that is the executive and the forces, ensuring that any actions of theirs are taken within the boundaries of existing laws. state security authorities must be seen as truly independent and accountable to the citizenry through their representatives in the legislative arm of government. The third solution I am proposing: both the state security authorities and legislative arm of government must implement and enforce laws that explicitly prohibit arbitrary detention, excessive use of force, and other human rights violations. These laws should include clear consequences for those who violate them. Now, my fifth solution: public relations stakeholders must ensure a strong security presence at polling stations, fostering dialogue between political parties, that is rival political parties, and promoting peaceful campaigns before and during elections. As I said previously, you may contact the Intrapreneur privately for detailed explanations on this solution also. But don't forget to follow me on YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, that's IG, and LinkedIn in all the episodes of the Intrapreneur series. When you follow, please subscribe for free. No payment, for free. Like and comment constructively, and share with friends and family to support this agenda of making our world a better place. So episode 11, we'll move away from security issues. That's the next episode. We'll move away from security issues, and it's going to be really, really revealing. Do follow me, share the link with your contacts, and stay blessed till we meet again. I remain yours truly, Chips Yao, up here, the Intrapreneur. See ya.